And as for the films themselves, I'll be reviewing them around about Christmas time since, in Britain, Harry Potter is very, very, very much associated with Christmas.
Ha! It's funny you mention that. I still have the notes for the Harry Potter retrospective. I thought I'd have to write new ones, but I've watched the films consistently. Like, I watch them every year, and I've seen them like over 1,000 times. And I thought my views on those films had changed, but looking back at those notes, no, they're the exact same. Anyway, I will do them before Fantastic Beasts 3 comes out. Also, you may be wondering why a proud Hufflepuff is wearing a Gryffindor jumper, and there's two reasons behind it. One, that being this has sentimental value. When I was younger, I had a Gryffindor jumper, and I loved it. It was like my favorite thing in the entire world. And I eventually outgrew it, and it was one of the most heartbreaking things in my life. And for my 19th birthday, my mum bought me this, and I love it. And two, red just looks better on me. I mean, yellow is just not my color. So it was reported that HBO Max is in early development of a Harry Potter TV show. Or should I say it's in development of a Wizarding World TV show. If it was a reboot of Harry Potter made for TV, you would know about it because I would be showrunning it. But yes, a Wizarding World TV show is in development. And I have to say, I'm really curious because I've always felt that the Wizarding World of Harry Potter just has so much story potential that they just haven't tapped into. You could do a series revolving around the Marauders, James Potter, Sirius Black, Remus Lupin, and Peter Pettigrew. Young Snape could be involved, Lily Evans could be involved. It would just be so cool because not only would you get to see more Snape, which is great because Snape is one of the best characters in Harry Potter, but also you get to see a young James Potter transform from a prick to someone that's actually a decent human being. We can see the Whomping Willow being planted, we can see them all learn to become animagi, and most importantly, we can see James Potter save Severus Snape from Remus Lupin in werewolf form, which is something that they failed to mention in the films, and I don't know why. In fact, the films basically skipped out the whole Marauders thing. Yes, we see the Marauders map, but they never actually explain the story behind the Marauders map. In Prisoner of Azkaban, yes, I know, the beloved Prisoner of Azkaban that everybody loves and adores. Don't get me wrong, I love and adore Prisoner of Azkaban, but it's not my favourite Harry Potter film. They completely gloss over the origin of the Marauders, Moony, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs being James, Remus, Lupin, and Sirius. They don't address it, which is weird because from Goblet of Fire onwards, they start addressing the Marauders characters by their nicknames. Like, they start calling Sirius Padfoot, and I'm like, but we never addressed that, Sirius was Padfoot. But yes, I'm really interested to see them do a Marauders TV show if that's what they're developing, because it's just full of such great potential, because not only would we get to see more Snape, but we'd also get to see James Potter in action. Because they always said James Potter was the popular kid. He was the big man on campus. Everybody loved him. He was the Quidditch hero. He was a great duelist. And just he was an overall prankster. And I want to see that because we don't actually get to see that in the films. The films don't give us nice stories of, James Potter being an absolute Chad and, being an absolute prankster. They don't ever mention it, which is fine because the films are limited to that small runtime. But it's just something that you would want to see because it adds depth and dimension to the characters. But not only do we have to follow the Marauders in Hogwarts, we can also see them graduate and join the Order of the Phoenix and fight Voldemort in the First Wizarding War. We can see the betrayal of Peter Pettigrew play out on screen and then see Sirius go and confront him and, do the whole thing where he blows up the entire street and leaves only his finger and blames Sirius for it. Like, that stuff is really cool and has the potential to be really emotionally powerful if they show it. Now, if they do a Marauders series, the way I would personally do it is I'd have it be a 10-episode miniseries because although there is a lot of story potential, I don't think you need multiple seasons to tell this story. 10-hour-long episodes, the first half being set at Hogwarts, and we see them, grow, become friends, become animagi, and see more of James and Snape's rivalry. They can also adapt more of Snape's worst memories that were in the books but they didn't mention in the films, because in the film it's a very short sequence in Order of the Phoenix, but in the book it's much longer, and there's a lot more to explore. And then for the last 5 episodes, I would age them up, just purely because you could have Richard Madden play James Potter, and Kit Harington play Sirius Black, because older James and older Sirius is what I want to see in live action as well. And particularly those two actors playing those roles because, in my opinion, they are just perfect casting. To me, Richard Madden is just perfect casting for James because throughout his filmography, we've seen him play that sort of older brother that's, quite, fun and endearing, but also can be, that great leader. You look at him and you go, that is a leader. The King in the North! But I also think it would be a bit of an opportunity for Richard Madden to show a bit more range and, become that sort of jokey prankster that we all know and love James to be. Plus, he and Kit Harington also have that great brotherly chemistry from Game of Thrones. I mean, the scene where Jon and Robb say goodbye is so well done because, you watch that scene and they're not on screen together for very long, but you can tell that they care for each other, and just, I would love to see the two of them reunite again. We're getting it in Eternals, which I'm really excited for, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm really looking forward to that film. But I'd also love to see it in, Kit Harington's favourite franchise. Kit Harington is a massive Harry Potter fan. Speaking of Kit Harington, I know he would love to play Snape. He said in interviews that he would want to play Snape, but he also said that he's a better fit for Sirius, which I just agree with. Don't get me wrong, Kit Harington could probably be an amazing Snape. He's definitely got the brooding nature, but I mean, come on, let's face it, Kit Harington is just way too handsome to be Snape. I mean, not only that, he's just also really built, and just, that is not what you would want Snape to be. I'm sure he would lean down for the role, but just, I don't know, Kit Harington to me just has that sort of rock star vibe that, people would associate with Sirius Black, because remember, he is supposed to be mistaken for Stubby Boardman, the member of the Hobgoblins, if I am correct. Now, speaking of Snape, who do you get to play him other than Adam Driver? Yes, Adam Driver is American, but I'm pretty sure he can polish up his British accent because it's Adam Driver. He is phenomenal, and he's just perfect for the role. I mean, he's going to take it really seriously because, he's going to continue Alan Rickman's legacy and pay homage to him, and just, it's full of so much potential, and I just want to see Adam Driver as Snape. And we can also see a lot more of Snape and Lily's friendship that we didn't get to see in the films as much, because obviously they montage through it with Snape's worst memories, which to this day, in my opinion, is like the best sequence in the Harry Potter saga. Snape's memories in Deathly Hallows Part 2 is one of the most heart-wrenching scenes. It makes me tear up all the damn time. It is just phenomenal, and just imagine if this show could explore that friendship, develop it to the point where you really love the two of them together, and then when Lily dies and they could recreate the scene from Deathly Hallows Part 2, the amount of emotional power that scene could contain is just, I'm getting chills thinking about it. I'm tearing up thinking about it now. Oh, it could be phenomenal. Now, people are also speculating that it could be possibly a Founders of Hogwarts series, and yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It could just be, Game of Thrones, but Harry Potter. As of right now, I don't know how it would play out. Like, are they just gonna, become friends and then make a magic school and then fall out? Or is it gonna be like this Game of Thrones type of thing where, like, you have like House Gryffindor and House Hufflepuff, and it's just them, like, forging alliances and, defeating, like, evil wizards and all that stuff. Like, I don't get it, because it's supposed to be set in sort of like, medieval Britain, roughly around that time, but it's just like, what are they going to do? Like, especially Gryffindor. Is Gryffindor just going to go around decapitating people? I mean, I doubt it. I mean, have you seen his sword? Like, look at this piddly little thing. Like, what is he going to do with this? But I'm not dismissing the idea of the show. I think I just need somebody to pitch it to me, because it's a completely different era if they did do it, because with Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts, we've seen the 1900s and the early 2000s. But by doing a Founders of Hogwarts series, you can go back to medieval times and explore Godric Gryffindor, Salazar Slytherin, Helga Hufflepuff, and Rowena Ravenclaw, their friendship and just them, building Hogwarts. But I don't know how you would make that a multiple season show. I would need somebody to pitch that to me. I also think they could do like a Tale of Beedles the Bards, like little animated mini-series, or sort of like a vignette film, where they basically just take the animation style from Deathly Hallows Part 1 with the Tale of the Three Brothers, and just adapt it into the other stories, the Fountain of Fortune, the Wizard and his Hopping Pot, and, the classic Babbity Rabbity.
Come on. Babbity Rabbity.
Although saying that, I don't know how they do the Warlock's Harry Heart, because that story is, like, horrifying. Like, the man cuts out his own heart and, like, he bleeds to death and stuff. Like, I don't know how they would do that in animation, but, like, if they do it, that would be really interesting. I know there's an audiobook out there with the actors from the films narrating each of the stories, and it's cool, but I would kind of like to see, like, a little mini-series or, like, a, full film, animated film of the Tales of Beedle the Bard. Quidditch Through the Ages could also be quite a cool little idea if they do it as sort of like a little sketch comedy show, sort of like in the vein of Horrible Histories, because that's sort of what the book is like. It's like, you see the development of Quidditch throughout the ages, hence the name. But the way Rowling wrote the book is quite interesting, because she takes a lot of excerpts from, famous witches and wizards about the development of Quidditch in that certain era. So if you sort of adapt those and make it sort of like a little sketch comedy show, I think that it could be quite good. And of course, there is the possibility that this TV show could be a series adapting The Cursed Child, which I don't think is likely, because no. If they were going to do Harry Potter 9 or The Cursed Child, that would be a feature film event. That film would make Force Awakens numbers. It would not be something that they would put on HBO Max. Warner Brothers would want that in the cinemas, making as much money as they possibly could, bringing back Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson. Because if they didn't do that, they would be stupid. But yes, a Wizarding World TV show is in development at HBO Max. That's kind of all the ideas I currently have about it, sort of going around in my brain. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell down there as well. My social media links are also down in the description, so if you give those a look and a follow, that'd be very much appreciated. And until we meet again, I'll see you guys next time.